People may want to hurt you more if you show them your pain. This doesn't always happen, but it does often. There are people who will enjoy seeing you hurt or even make it worse. Sadism and envy are unfortunately common traits that can get in the way of your personal growth in many areas of your life, including at work, with friends, and even in your own family. That's why hiding your flaws can turn out to be your strength. Imagine yourself as a tree in the midst of a storm. The leaves may flutter and the branches may sway, but the trunk remains solid, deeply rooted in the earth. This is the portrait of silent resilience that we're going to teach here. We will talk about how you can be even stronger if you show that you are not easily affected by external or internal issues, where each challenge teaches you to be like the tree. By acting as if nothing bothers you, you are not denying the storm, but choosing not to let the rain soak you and the wind knock you down. You will be learning to be the master of your own fate, firm, strong, and serene in a sea of chaos. In this video, we will talk about 18 Stoic principles of Epictetus, a great and renowned philosopher you have probably already heard of. Additionally, I invite you to self-knowledge, where strength does not come from the noise of thunder, but from the silence of the light that illuminates the path. Therefore, in the next few minutes, focus on the content and not on daily distractions. First rule, listen twice as much as you speak. Have you ever thought about why nature gave us 2 ears but only 1 mouth? According to Epictetus, this is not an error or a coincidence. It is meant to help us fall in love with the voices of others more than our own. It is by learning from others that we achieve success, not by repeating our own words over and over again. The second rule is to always expect the worst. Thinking that bad things will happen in the future is one of the main causes of anxiety and its terrible effects. We worry that our kids will stop studying, that we'll lose our job, that our partner will tell us they've been cheating on us and ask for a divorce, or that something else bad will happen to us, like going bankrupt. The problem is that one day we actually think one of these things will happen. Think that all the things you're afraid of have already happened, so what could be worse? This will help your spirit come up with ways to deal with things while keeping your head held high. Third principle. Be ready to fail, because that's the only way to move forward. We do the impossible so that people won't think we're stupid, but Epictetus had a different take on this. According to his philosophy, one of the best things that can happen to you is to be thought of as stupid. This is how you can really improve yourself professionally and personally. The Stoic philosopher reminds us that overcoming is not a spontaneous reaction, but rather a planned action. The fourth idea is pay attention to the risks of fortune. These things we want come with a stigma that not many people can get rid of, and it's not just the people who will appear out of nowhere to take advantage of our luck by pretending to be friends with us when they aren't. Money has the power to change people, and not always for the better. Once we have this highly sought-after resource, we realize we had something we didn't know we had before. Principle number 5. Don't cling to a single hope. Luckily, humans are naturally diverse, so there's no reason to put all our hopes in a single dream, since failing at it could be very bad. Instead, Epictetus tells us to pursue many dreams, as this will greatly increase our chances of success. Sixth principle. Always remember that death is at the end of the road. This is not a negative piece of advice. It's just a reminder that death is where all of our actions, especially our efforts, end. Once we realize this, we might start to think about whether it is worth saving for 20 years to buy a house that we won't be able to take with us when we die. Just like we carry our phones, credit cards, and toothbrushes in our bags, we should also carry a small notebook with us. Stoics teach us that true wealth is a spirit that is happy. Herodotus had his own idea of what happiness was, and we can learn about it from one of his famous lines. Someone is smart if they don't worry about the things they don't have, and instead enjoy the ones they do have. This reflection is more than a thought, it is advice to learn to stop feeling afflicted by those riches that are not yet part of our life. Because while we allow ourselves to complain and mourn for what we lack, we lose valuable minutes of happiness in which we could thank for everything we have achieved so far, which is much more than our eyes are trained to appreciate. Thus a rich person is above all a happy person principle. Number 8, incorporate humility into your life. If you really want to learn something, it is essential that a person learns what they believe they already know through this phrase. Epictetus calls us to make use of our humility, especially in the realm of learning. Going through life, boasting of the pride of knowledge, distances us more and more from the authentic knowledge that arises from the conviction that we are completely ignorant about what we intend to learn. In this way, we will look at everything through the eyes of a child, which harbors as much capacity for wonder as it does a desire to learn. Principle number 9, irrational people blame others, ordinary people blame themselves, but the wise see all guilt as foolishness. This quote from Epictetus has led therapists to look at guilt as a feeling that needs to be gotten rid of. The only way to win the battle against guilt is to refuse to play with it. The problem is that this is an easy way to win, because when we blame others or ourselves, we get off the hook completely. Number 10, the principle: make friends with positive people. It's interesting that when someone sneezes next to us, we move away out of fear that they will infect us. But we're not so careful to avoid one of the most contagious diseases we face every day. Epictetus gave us good advice about this. Surround ourselves with people who inspire us to do our best. People's actions have a big effect on our mood, and there are people who drain our. Don't forget that how you act. Forge your destiny. Our responses are very important because they determine whether we succeed or fail. Epictetus was very clear about this. He taught us that we can't choose what happens, but we can choose how to handle it. Any of us can have bad luck, but what we do when it does is what will make it go away. Note the difference. For some people, getting divorced means starting a life of sadness and victimization. For Epictetus, on the other hand, it's a chance to start learning about himself. Remember that what you do with your life is more important than what happens to you. Everybody has a responsibility in society and the world. The sun doesn't need praise or magic to rise every morning. It does, and that's the end of it. So, just like every other part of nature, we have to do our jobs. If we wait for praise or thanks to do our work, we are failing ourselves and the environment we live in. If we know what our job is and know that other people depend on us to do it, we will do it. Do not hate people who hate you. Instead, ignore them. You are bigger and better than the person who criticizes, hates, and discriminates against you. So don't waste your time hating them, because they don't even deserve to be in your thoughts. You should also not be afraid of people who hurt you, because that noise is an attempt to hurt you, so ignore it and get used to it. Rule number 14. Bet on simplicity. Why live in poverty? Nowadays we can surround ourselves with all kinds of luxuries. The answer is much simpler and more logical than you think. This is because wealth doesn't keep itself up. It takes dedication and a lot of daily energy to keep up this system of luxuries and wealth. On the other hand, when we choose a simple lifestyle, we don't have to worry about paying our bills, loans, and credit cards on time. Principle 15. If you let other people's words and actions bother you, you give up control of your life to them. Anyone who can make you angry becomes your master, but they can only do that if you let them. The Epictetus shows us that we each have many keys inside us, some of which lead to happiness and others to mental ruin. This last key is exactly what we give to people who make us angry. The way to solve this problem is to build a wall that keeps us from being affected by other people's attitudes, because everyone is responsible for what they say and what they choose to listen to. Principle number 16. Because true friends will be there for us if our actual wealth goes away. Friendship is more valuable than money, so make it a point to build real friendships, and you will be making a very smart long-term investment. Number 17. The principle always extract the benefit from things. Whatever happens, it is up to you to take advantage of it or not. These were the words of Epictetus. As you can see, it is not about having the option to take the good out of adversity, but that doing so is our duty. As long as there is intelligence in you, there will be the ability to realize the advantages you can take from the situation that has struck you. Imagine that one day you arrive at work to find out you will be fired, instead of despairing and accusing the universe of being against you. You have the option of venturing into that enterprise you dreamt of, while fulfilling your work schedule alongside people you disliked. Therefore, always try to look for the positive in a situation, as this movement added up throughout your life will certainly take you further than just lamenting. Principle number 18. Stop worrying about what is out of your control. You are the owner of your opinion, but not your reputation. You have the desire and the zeal for the search, but you cannot control the amount of goods you have, or success. Therefore, worrying and getting bitter about those things we cannot control is simply making the decision to waste time, according to Epictetus. We are called to cultivate those values that we have the possibility to change, but it is also our responsibility to let go of what is out of our control, and thus let fate take care of it, in addition to being incredibly useful for everyday life. Stoic principles are teachings that can help us navigate bad times with interest and resilience, as there is no place in their philosophy for fantasizing, but only for applying what is learned and moving forward. I hope you liked the video, and since you've made it to the end, share your ideas with us and WR Armored Wisdom in the comments. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. See you soon.